Oh, we're rolling. Welcome, guys. Episode 35 from New York. It's Carmine. How are you? Who knew there'd be 35 plus more to come programs brought to you by me, sponsored by me of Photo Knowledge. Coming at you whether you like it or not. All right, guys. How's everybody? Seriously. It's January 13th, the year 2022. Wow. We made it. We made it to a new year. Hope everybody's doing fine with the pandy. All right. As you know, I want to start every episode for the new year, 2022, and beyond, perhaps, giving a shout out to a YouTube photography channel that has inspired me, that I like, that I love watching, that I have learned from. Even if you pick up one thing, one new idea, or if it's not something that this YouTube photographer said, it's something you saw, maybe even in the background, like, oh, I like that. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to try that technique. Okay. I'm out of control with the UK YouTube photographers. Oh my God. We have another one. Another UK photography channel that I love and I watch. And I wish he would put out a video every single day. But he's a working professional photographer. MATT Osborne. OSBORNE. MATT Osborne from the UK. This is your shout out. How are you, Matt? Oh my goodness, I have a lot to say about Matt. All good. Okay, first of all, very jealous. Matt is a professional model photographer. Okay, so you got my attention. So, Matt has traveled the world taking photographs of female models, the most gorgeous women. Well, yes, they're gorgeous, but he shows how gorgeous they are in a dignified way, in a gorgeous way, and a lot of it in what? Black and white. You know, that's why we're here, folks. Beautiful black and white photography. And then what? What else did you say? Film. He shoots black and white film on a lot of the model shoots. Oh my goodness. MATT Osborne from the UK. First of all, the guy has such an interesting professional life. One day he's photographing models out in the UK. The next day he's flying to another country, shooting them there. But yes, he does shoot digital for his professional work, whatever the client wants. But what will he also take with him and make it a point to shoot with it? Oh, maybe he'll take a 56-year-old Zorky 4 from 1966. Maybe he'll load it up with black and white film. Maybe he'll shoot the models. And maybe those photographs will be drop dead gorgeous. Go to his YouTube channel, MATT Osborne. Look at his photographs. Listen to how much sense he makes about why he shoots with this camera, right? The Zorky 4. But not just the Zorky 4. He shoots with vintage Barnack Leicas. He'll shoot with the Kievs. He'll shoot with a Hasselblad. He'll shoot with a Voigtlander. He'll shoot with a Zorky. So, just looking if I had a Zorky out here. He'll shoot with a Zorky. Now, when you see his photographs of these beautiful women, the black and white photographs, the photographs from 56-year-old or older 35 millimeter or medium format film cameras, you'll say, no way. Yeah, way. When you have a professional model photographer like MATT Osborne, shooting, knowing what he's doing with light, shadow, contrast, detail, posing. Posing. That's so difficult. Yes, the model will bring, a professional model will bring to the table her poses, the ones that she feels comfortable with, the ones that she knows makes her look the best in, the one she'll pose in the poses that the professional model photographers want without being asked. Okay, so he'll shoot with this Zorky 4. Now remember, I do my research on eBay. Episode 34, I just watched it again and I kept saying buy it on YouTube. Okay, maybe I had one too many pints. Anyway, on eBay today, right now, January 13th, 2022, these Zorky 4s, okay, rangefinders. Today we're going to talk a lot about rangefinders in episode 35, okay? This one, made in the Ukraine. I bought it from the Ukraine. They're going for $148, including shipping from the Ukraine in working condition, okay? Remember, all Russian cameras, you must, after you take the photograph, click advance it immediately, because that's the only way you can change the shutter speed. If you take the picture and then change the shutter speed, you're screwed. Even though the manual available from butkus.org for free, he asked for a small donation. All right, I donate. You can mess up the gears in these Russian cameras by not changing the shutter speed immediately after you advance the film. So it's take the photograph, advance, change the shutter speed. Take the photograph, advance the film, then you can change the shutter speed. That's the only thing you have to watch out with these cameras. All right? I've taken a lot of good pictures with the Zorky. Okay? Listen, when you're in the market for a rangefinder, and remember, Matt Osborne turned me on to Russian rangefinders. Okay? Go to his channel, Matt Osborne. Just search. You don't have to search far for the Zorky, right? Or every other kind of Russian camera, the Kievs, right? Buy them. This one, $148. Well, one like this. On eBay today with a lens. Never buy it without a lens and then go shopping for a lens. Get it with the lens. This rangefinder is very clear. Very clear. Okay? This is the rangefinder window. Inside, right, is a prism or a movable mirror, right? Very clear. When you're buying Zorkys from the Ukraine, you want 100% credibility rating. eBay calls it feedback. You want it where he has hundreds or thousands of feedbacks, not 4. Okay? Because those are the guys that will say all shutter speeds work, low shutter speeds don't work. Okay? That's my criteria. That was the Zorky. Now, back to Matt Osborne. Matt Osborne, okay, has the most interesting photographs. You could go on his Instagram and look at his photographs. They're gorgeous. You're looking at his black and white photographs and you're saying, wow, I can't believe he took those with a 35 millimeter rangefinder. Yeah, that's what kind of guy Matt Osborne is. Professional model photographer. Check him out. Go to his YouTube channel, Matt Osborne, OSBORNE. Subscribe to his channel. Scroll through all the different film cameras he uses, right? He's also known as Mr. Leica, so he's going to be a lot of Leica cameras there, both digital and film. Okay? He loves, like we all do, the older Barnack Leicas. Okay? Check out his channel. Good job, Matt. Love that guy. All right. Today's overall class, okay, what we're going to talk about is rangefinder film cameras, the good, the bad, and the ugly about them, okay? Uh, in general, okay, let's pick up another one instead of constantly picking up the Zorky, okay? Let's pick up my favorite 35 millimeter rangefinder camera. It's 55 years old, born in 1967. It's $100 including shipping in working condition. Ladies and gentlemen, the Konica Auto S2. The Konica Auto S2. Now, before we go any further, do you see, hold on, let me get a pointer. Those are nice. Okay. Do you see over here, okay, Auto, right? Then here it says S2. The font that Konica chose for the S, okay, looks like a 5. It looks like a 5. So you'll have people who have this camera, they inherited it, or they're not photographers. Somebody gave them this to sell for them. Okay, they'll look at it and they'll list it as simply. Where are you? Come on. Konica on the front. Oh, so much glare. Konica Auto 52. That's how I found this one. I didn't look on the Auto S2. I looked on the Auto 52. And there it was, mint condition, okay? If I tell you I paid $40 for it, you may not believe me. Well, I paid $40 for it. Today, these are selling for $100 with the shipping, okay? But keep in mind, when you want to buy the Konica Auto S2, also eBay Auto 52. It's the font that they use. I'm looking at it now, and it looks like 52, but it's S2. Okay, why is this my favorite camera? This is my favorite 35 millimeter rangefinder because it takes gorgeous, sharp photographs. The rangefinder, right? The rangefinder has a infinity to close up. That's the swing right there. That's all you move in the lens is this much from here to here. That's it. The rangefinder window and the viewfinder window are crystal clear. Crystal clear. It has a bright yellow square in the middle, right? It's called, let me get this right for you. I want to give you the right information, right? It's called the movable mirror, okay? The movable mirror or prism in here, right? As you turn the focus dial, right? In here, the mirror or the prism is moving back and forth. And when you see the image, right? When you see the image become one, you're in focus. If you see double image, you're not in focus. So as you focus back and forth, it's in focus. That's it. That's the whole mystery to rangefinder cameras. Now, let's get back to the Konica S2. Okay. This camera, right, it does have a spot for a battery. It's only for the meter. Otherwise, it's totally mechanical. I've never put a battery in here. I use my Sekonic handheld light meter. Okay. So, this is completely, do you hear that? Completely mechanical. Okay. There's no electronics in here. Solid metal body. The lens is a hexagon. Oh, maybe this is why it's gorgeous. It's a 1.8. It's a 1.8 f1.8 lens. All right. 48 millimeter. All right. That's still within the normal lens. It's not wide angle. That's still considered normal. Okay. But it's the simplicity. I had this camera with me doing street photography, right? Walking through the city when movie stars are walking by, right? Quick, focus, boom. They don't even hear it. They don't even hear you photographing them. They don't hear the shutter, okay? That brings us to another topic. The topic is incognito, meaning you don't want to stand out. Incognito, right? Which is why cameras really only come in all black or silver. Silver, it's not made for the paparazzi, so you can't be seen. The black ones, black bodies, right? Like the F5, all black, right? It doesn't stand out, especially against a dark shirt, right? But a silver camera, right? It might even reflect light into the person's eye that you're trying to take a picture of surreptitiously, okay? But look at the difference in the rangefinder compared to an SLR, okay? Now this F5, all right, also has the normal lens attached, all right? So it's easier to be low key, to be hidden amongst the crowd if you have a Konica Auto S2 to take street photographs with, right? You could do zone focusing, right? You lean up against the wall on the sidewalk, right? You focus on a part of the sidewalk, right? And you know that between that telephone pole and that fire hydrant, you're going to get in focus, right? Especially if you use, like, say, F8, F11, right? So now you don't have to keep it up to your eye. You can just keep it here. And what I do is I carry a newspaper, right? I'm making believe I'm reading a newspaper over here. Click, done, got your picture, okay? To take it to the next level, hold on. Remember I mentioned this? Gaffer's tape, okay? Many a time, if I'm doing street photography and I don't want to be seen as a photographer, right? Black gaffer's tape right over. You start putting it over the silver parts, okay? You could start putting it over the silver parts, okay? You don't have to spend money looking for a black body if the only purpose is to be incognito, okay? So you put your black tape, black gaffer's tape, okay? Gaffer's tape over the silver parts, okay? The name plate, all right? Now look. Now you made it even less. You made it less obvious, okay? Compared to what it was. Another good reason to do this, and I made this in my safety video about how not to get killed when you're doing street photography, is if a thug sees your camera is taped up, be like, I don't want that broken camera, piece of crap. All right? Think. You're on the street. Come on, man. You're dealing with New York City. Okay. Let's continue. Let's go to a camera, a rangefinder, the August C4. Now, if you've been following every episode, I just did an episode when I received this August C4, all right, a little while ago. See, this is a slip-on yellow filter because I love contrasty black and white photographs, right? Now, when I did a whole breakdown of the camera, I went over it, right? This is also a rangefinder, right? The viewing lens, the rangefinder lens, and as you move it, okay, as you focus, it turns the actual lens, okay? When it's in focus in your viewfinder, it's in focus because you're moving the lens too. Now, I just finished a whole landscape shoot with this camera just yesterday, okay? Born in 1951, it's 71 years old, okay? It's 71 years old. The lens is still beautiful, no haze, no fungus, no balsam separation. If you don't remember balsam separation, when you have two elements in the lens, two pieces of glass, all right, many a times to make the right lens, to make it sharp and to have the aesthetics that they want, they have to apply clear glue and glue two pieces of glass together. Over time, when the camera is not stored properly, like in the heat, all right, the two pieces of glued elements, the glass, will start to separate. And that glue will start to get like, it'll look like somebody dragging their fingers down on a steamy window. Okay, that's balsam separation. All right, so I just got back from a landscape shoot, okay, with this 71-year-old $75, including shipping, August C4. Now, if you remember yesterday's or the day before's video of episode 34, okay, I think it was 34, where we talked about the Minolta Maxim 50, it had issues, right? That camera you couldn't use in the winter because the grease just got hard and the film wouldn't advance, and Azrael Knight, his camera was just sounding terrible. Okay, so some cameras you can't use in the winter. Now, yesterday I'm out shooting these landscape photographs. Okay, yellow filter. All right, now this doesn't have through the lens metering. It has no meter, no metering. It's all handheld Konica light meter, and this yellow filter has you have to add one stop, either by adjusting the shutter speed or adjust the f-stop. Right, it steals one stop of light. So I'm taking the photographs, and it was not terribly cold, but it was around 32, 33 yesterday. So as I'm out, and you can see, okay, wide open, it's by the ocean, it was windy, right? Everything's going fine. And then, as I'm focusing on a close-up, not a close-up, but something other than infinity, all right, as I'm focusing on this photograph, okay, this is a landscape photograph, shadows. Okay, this is something you guys can do. It's so simple. Just look on a very bright, cloudless day. All right, go on a photography journey of just photographing shadows. This happens to be a shadow. This is a fishing pier, right? So as you come off this fishing pier, you land right into this shadow, which happens to be a fountain. It's turned off because it's the winter, but it was giving such a beautiful, odd-shaped, sickle-shaped shadow. I had to photograph it. Anyway, so now this is obviously not infinity, right? So I'm focusing here, right, on this crack or opening in the cement, right? I'm focusing, and the strangest thing is happening. The mirror or prism in here that turns, right, that shows inside the viewfinder, I would turn it, and then it would hesitate and go, all right. And then I want to photograph another infinity shot. Like this. This is this was around the corner from that fishing pier. All right, this is a fishing boat. All right, stuck in the ice. Okay, once again, high contrast, thanks to the yellow filter. All right, this is all white, snow and ice, and the boat is white. It would have been just a big mess of white. All right, so now as I'm focusing back to infinity on this boat, the same thing happened. I would focus, and the prism or the mirror in here, inside the body of the camera, right, was sluggish. It was like, it would stop and then it would go all up without me touching it. It would like try and catch up. Oh, so I said, you know what? I'm going to attribute this also to grease that is 70 plus years old. All right, all the lubricant, the liquid part of the grease is all long gone, and now it's just the solids. All right, so I said, you know what? This is another camera I have to remember not to use in the winter because of the sluggish mirror inside the rangefinder. But I did end up getting quite a few good photographs. One roll of film. What film did I use yesterday? Arista EDU Ultra, right? 100 ISO. I developed it. Now hold on to your pants now. All right? Hold on to your pants. D76 again, 1 to 3, 62 degrees. I developed the film at 62 degrees. Why, Carmine? Why do you do that? Because in my basement / darkroom, I have all of my chemicals, right? Fixer, stop bath, D76 stock solution, photo flow, and water, all in jugs. Okay? Yes, I don't use the sink water. I keep the water in jugs. Why? Because it lets all the chlorine evaporate. Here in New York City, our water tastes in the wintertime and in the summertime and in the springtime, okay, there's a lot of chlorine because the water has to travel from the lakes up in the Catskills, underground, in pipes that are 200 years, well, 100 years old, and along with it, it picks up everything known to man, every organism. So, the temperature in the room, right, I have a digital room thermometer, 62 it said yesterday. Double check. I have a digital thermometer. You open it up, you put it in, all the chemicals, 62 degrees. What a surprise. The same temperature as the room temperature. So, I go to the massive dev chart, right? And if you pay attention, there is a side on the left, there's a table of contents. And one of them is temperature calculator. You click on that. What does it ask you? It says, what temperature what's the normal temperature? 68 degrees. What's the time it told you to develop that film? So you have to go back and look up Arista EDU Ultra 100 ISO, right? 35 millimeter, shot at 100 ISO. It gives you the time. Let's say it said, in this case, I can remember, it said 17 minutes when you're doing a 1+3, right? Click, you put in 62 degrees is what your temperature's at. It asks you, are you going to do no agitation? That's stand development. No, I don't like stand development because once you've gotten screwed with stand development by just leaving it on your darkroom bench, the film inside the canister, right? And you don't agitate it, and then you realize, oh, great, I have streaks coming out of every single sprocket hole, right? Forget that. That's ridiculous. Come on. So with normal agitation, so it doesn't say no agitation. It says no agitation, and the only other choice is constant agitation. I don't do constant agitation, and I don't do stand agitation, but you find out through experience and reading that if you're going to agitate, do normal agitation. You have to click the button that says constant agitation because there's only two choices. All right? It gives you the time, and it was 20 minutes. 20 minutes development. If I may say so, great. Forget the subject matter, even though the subject's pretty good too. We're talking about contrast, sharpness. Do you have a full range of whites, and blacks. Okay? In photography school, here's a free lesson. I had to pay for it. In photography school, they said, easiest way to know if you have an accurate black and white photograph, meaning contrast-wise, is that if you have pure whites and pure blacks. If you have that, you will have all the other gray tones. Okay, having said that, let me put these aside. Okay. Now, what other ones I wanted to show you? Okay, here's one. Okay, same roll, same camera. This was all yesterday. All right, put the camera almost touching the ground. Okay, almost touching the ground here. Okay, not bad for a 71-year-old camera. And this is another kind of shot. Okay, the lens. Which picture did I want to show you? Which would show about coated lenses. Okay, here we go. You know when people talk about in modern lenses, the lens is multi-coated and there's diffraction, special ED glass, okay? If you look closely, right here, okay? Now go to my website, CarmineTaverna.com. The photograph is up there, right, in high def, right? See here where the sun, right, reflected on the water and then gave a flare right through here, okay? That's because when this lens was made 71 years ago, right, they didn't have all the coatings that they have now. And you know what? That's what gives it charm. This is a photograph taken with a 71-year-old camera. That's the look I want. That's the look everybody who's a landscape photographer who takes black and white film photographs, this is what they're looking for. Okay? Talking about photographs taken with black and white film, okay? You have to have that love for black and white film to appreciate it. Here's what I mean. Steve O'Nions, I mentioned him, I gave him a shout out in one of my classes, okay? He loves, like I do, not only black and white film photographs in all the formats, 35 millimeter, medium, large format, green. He never touches when he's processing it in his software, in his post-production software. He never gets the denoise slider to wipe to smooth out the grain. Never. Never. Then you might as well just take a digital camera and go take pictures. In here now, because I use 1+3 D76, okay, and 100 ISO/ASA film, I get very little grain. Okay? So, but it's there, but it's not pronounced. It's it's the film you pick, the brand. How high is your ISO or ASA? Right? The higher you go, the more grain you're going to get. Your developer, and you're developing time and mixed with your developer. Okay? Me, I'm a D76 1+3 guy for all my black and white film. All my black and white film. If you go to the massive dev chart, there's in the left-hand side, there's a box. It just says one word, contributors. People who have contributed, who have worked out formulas, meaning what ratio, 1+3, 1+20, 1+50, that's the ratio. What developer, D76, Rodinal, etc. For a specific film, go to contributors. Go alphabetically by first name. It's weird, but that's how they do it. It's alphabetically by the first name. I'm there. I'm a contributor because I found what is, this is a stupid word, but I'm going to use it, creamy. I found a combination, meaning D76 and the ratio 1:3 for black and white film. That's my umbrella. It's always going to be D76 and a ratio of 1:3. The only thing that's going to change is the time and the temperature. And yes, 20 minutes, this was 20 minutes at 62 degrees. That's because it was Arista film. Arista EDU. The least expensive film. The least expensive film on the market. Arista EDU Ultra. It's the cheapest film on the market. Okay. Now, why do I say it's the cheapest? This and Shanghai GP3, right up here. Shanghai GP3. Also, like the second cheapest film on the market. Why do I always talk about that? Because there's a lot of young photographers or old photographers out there, all right, with inflation going through the roof around the world, okay? They don't want to spend $9 a roll for 24 exposures. They'd like to spend $4, $5 a roll, okay? Professionals, if you see a photograph hanging up in a gallery, unless he states it, which they don't, what film they used, all right, you would say, oh man, he must have used the most expensive Kodak or Ilford, some hybrid film, right? No. I want you guys to start being comfortable using films that don't cost $9, $10 and up a roll. Start your experimentation like I did with your Arista films and your Shanghai GP3. Get your exposures correct. Start using a yellow filter constantly for outdoor photography. Use your handheld Konica light meter, adjusting for how much light the filter factor is. Okay, it's very simple. Yellow, open it by 1 stop. If it's dark red, open it by 3 stops. It's very simple. Okay? Start that, and then start using what I'm telling you in the darkroom. D76, not stock. Don't use 1+1. Don't use 1+2. Use 1+3. Go to the Massive Dev, stands for development chart. It's online. It's a free guide for you guys. Put in, shoot it at box speed. Okay? You could push it, as you know. The Massive Dev chart also has, if you pushed it or pulled it. Okay? That's some of the stuff I contributed to. Okay? And experiment. If you guys get stuck and you have a roll of film that this is not on the Massive Dev chart, whether you pushed it or you pulled it, or the combination of film that there's no developer on it that matches the developer you like, okay? Email me, blackandwhitephoto@aol.com, and I will get back to you, and I will tell you the 1+3 time to use. How long to develop that film with normal agitation. Don't tell me you want to do stand development. Worst thing ever. Leaving your film in the developing tank for an hour, go out for lunch, come back, go for a drive. Horrible. You're doing a disservice to the manufacturer of that film and to your craft. All right? I'm getting hot. Okay. So, can't lose sight on what today's topic is. We're talking about rangefinders. All right. So that was 3. Okay, we went through the Zorky, my favorite, the Konica Auto S2, and we're not done. We're not done with the August uh, C4. Okay. Told you about the issue with the mirror, sluggish. Okay. Here's the shutter wheel. Okay. Right here. Okay. Okay. You wind the film like that. All right. Now, the shutter dial is right here. Okay. The fastest, this one is 200. There are models where the fastest speed is 300. Now, look at where your finger is, okay? And look at where the wheel is. And look what happens as you're walking around, right? As you're walking around, your finger rubs this dial. So what do you think happened yesterday? Yesterday I was shooting, it was bright sunlight, I was shooting at 100 shutter speed, about f8, because I had the yellow filter on. Okay, perfect shot. I had a lighthouse. Well, it's a light beacon. It's not like a lighthouse like you think it made of brick. These lighthouses, this is the city. They're made out of steel. You know, it kind of looks like a, I don't know. It's a big steel structure with a light on top to mark the channel. So I had it all lined up with the sun. I was shooting right into the sun, and it had the glare on the water. Ah, perfect. I go to take the shot. Click, click. It rolled over to B. As I was walking, it rolled over to B. It went from 200 to B. Ruined. One frame, ruined. Doesn't sound like a lot, one frame. But when you have a limited number of frames on your roll of film, I always shoot as if it's the last roll of film in the world, because I'm going to make everyone count. Okay? If if I get to the end of the roll, all right, and it doesn't advance anymore, that means I'm at the end of the roll, and I see a scene that I didn't see before and I want to take a shot of it, can't, because the last frame, one of the frames during the roll, was on B, because it rolled. Because this is very easy to move. Okay? Now, photographer has to check his settings. No kidding. Okay? That one was on 200. All right? But when you're on a roll, and you know in your head, my camera set at 200 f8. Boom, 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 boom. And then you get to this one frame, click, click. Ugh, how disappointing. So talk about the mirror sluggish. This is in the wrong place. All right, that's not a defect. That's just something to be aware of, right? So now, right, you gotta hold the camera. How do you hold the camera like this? I don't know. You'll see here I had to put gaffer's tape on the lock button to open the back of the camera. I also put, not for light leaks, I had to put 2 pieces of gaffer tape here because somebody that commented brought out, they saw me that I was in the last video about this camera, the back just flew off. It's common. He mentioned, he goes, it's common. You got to get the lock adjusted. All right. Yeah, this is how I'm adjusting it. Gaffer's tape, gaffer's tape, gaffer's tape. It's fine. Why spend money when you could just use your noodle? Okay. So, let's keep going on. This class, the subject was the good, the bad, and the ugly about rangefinders, right? We got the good, all right? We got, well, this is coming up to be the bad, right? With the sluggish mirror inside and the shutter speed dial it likes to move and the back of the camera it likes to open. All right, that would be the bad. I wouldn't call this ugly at all. I wouldn't call this OK4 ugly at all. But the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like the movie. It's a good title. Now, we can't wrap this up without me talking about my favorite. Now, this was my favorite 35mm rangefinder, right? The Konica. Let's talk about our 54-year-old friend from Japan. This made an appearance not that long ago. Okay? This is the 1968 Fujika G690. It's a 6x9 film camera. It takes 120 film. Okay? But this is all about rangefinders. Okay? The rangefinder in this camera, right? Big viewing lens, big viewfinder, right? Big rangefinder window. This, by the way, oh, what is that? Right? This lets in light to light up the mirror and the prism inside. Okay? So it reflects brightly in your viewfinder. Okay? This is the camera. If you remember my episode on this, okay? Parallax Correction. Parallax is where, if you want to take a photograph of something close, right? And you have it in focus, okay? You will be looking at it through here, and the lens will be looking at something else. That's parallax. When you're at infinity, it's not a problem. When you're close, it's a problem. This camera, this Fujika G690, unfortunately, they've gone through the roof. They're selling for $430 now, with shipping from Japan. All right, of course, with a lens, right? With a Fujika lens, right? This camera does automatic parallax correction. As you look through the viewfinder, and as you get closer and closer, right? You're focusing. The bars, the frame lines, they move to say, all right, we're going to stay on your subject for you. Okay? Parallax correction. That's why this is worth $430. But let's not kid ourselves. The star of the show, come on, is the massive negative. Come on. That's the star of the show right there. This gigantic negative. Come on. Are you kidding me? Look at the size of this thing. Here's my finger. Look at the size of this thing. This is the negative. That's the star of the show. That's why these cameras, right? This is 54 years old. It looks like it just came out of the box. Okay? Built like a tank. All right? Now, incognito, right? Remember what we said, incognito? Not all rangefinders are incognito. This certainly is not. This is something you want to take out when you're not trying to take pictures of Pete Davidson having pizza with Kim Kardashian. You don't take this. Right? So, let's see if I covered everything. One more time, this is all about MATT Osborne. MATT Osborne, his channel, he's the one that turned me on to the Zorky 4 and all other Russian film cameras. Okay? Let's see. Oh, I like little tidbits of history. All right? In 1916, Kodak, they are down in the history books as selling the first rangefinder camera to the market. 1916, right here in the United States, Kodak came up with the first rangefinder camera to be marketed. All right? Sorry, it wasn't the Barnack, it wasn't Leica, it was Kodak. He came up with the first rangefinder camera to be sold to the general public. Okay? Rangefinder cameras. Okay? This is my incognito Konica. I could take it off. It looks so sad. It looks so sad when you cover it with gaffer's tape. Remember what I said? Nobody's going to steal this. They think your poor is poor. All right? Let's take it off. This poor camera. It's so beautiful. It's if you could see this camera, how just gorgeous it is. right? This is raised silver lettering here, right? The windows are crisp and clear. This lens looks like ice. Looks like an ice cube. That's how clear it is. Oh, okay. From about 1930 to 1970, if you went to a camera store and you bought a camera, there was a 95% chance you were going to get a rangefinder. Now, what broke the bubble in 1970? Single lens reflex cameras came out by storm. Yes, there were single lens reflex cameras before 1970, but they started to get dumped into the market by the millions around 1970. All right, but from 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and most of the 70s, right, for 50 years, when you went to the store, you were picking up a rangefinder. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, one of the big reasons why rangefinders are still hot today, even the new ones, yeah, Leica, right, is because of the leaf shutter. Okay. In here, in the lens, is the shutter mechanism, right? In here is the shutter mechanism. In here is the shutter mechanism, all right? They use leaf shutters, right? They have such a foot up. They have such a better, what's the right way to put it? Leaf shutters are better than single lens reflex, right, shutters, because they're quiet. They don't have big cloth shutters, boom, boom, that have to move and roll, right? Curtains, there's no curtains that have to up and down, up and down. That's a lot of movement, okay? That's a lot of movement in your camera. There's no mirrors flipping up and flipping down. Leaf shutters will win all the time when it comes to being quiet, shake-free. Jesus, this was the original VR, vibration reduction, for God's sakes. Okay? Oh, here we go. Very good question that I was asked. When you're using a rangefinder, okay, and you have a filter on, the filter will not diminish the light coming through the viewfinder. For example, if you had a single lens reflex, okay, let's say you're using this camera. This is the F5 film camera. And say I put on here a dark red filter, all right? I have to look through the lens to focus. Manual focus, let's say, right? It's very difficult to focus with a dark red and sometimes a yellow or an orange filter. That's a drawback on a single lens reflex camera. Black and white photography using colored filters. Not so with a rangefinder, okay? Rangefinder, you can focus just plain as day. Bright, bright focusing. The filter is here. You're looking through here, okay? So that is an advantage, a very big advantage if you're a black and white landscape photographer and you like to use red or orange or yellow filters to boost up your contrast, okay? Let's see. Weight is a big one, okay? My favorite, right? The Konica S2, very light. Single lens reflex, F5, very heavy. So weight's a big part of why you would use a rangefinder. Okay, guys, we've gone almost an hour. Oh my goodness, 54 minutes. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Not waiting. I'm sorry to keep you in class so long. All right, let's go over a few things. Okay, please subscribe to my channel. Okay, it's over here. Boop, boop, boop. Just hit it. Oh my goodness, what's the big deal? Hit the button. You make me happy. Give me a thumbs up. Don't give me a thumbs down. A thumbs down doesn't help anybody. It gives you negative energy, gives me sadness. Ugh, thumbs down is terrible. Comment below. Email me any question about photography, black and white photo at AOL.com. I get many emails a week. Visit my website. You'll see this photograph, all the other photographs that I take. They're all on my website. Don't worry. You don't have to buy anything. It doesn't cost you any money. I don't sell any trinkets. It's a free website just to display my photographs. It's my gallery, right? Let's say I had a gallery in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue. Doors are open. You come in. You walk around, right? Same thing, except it's for the whole planet. CarmineTaverna.com. My website, you go, you look at the photographs. It'll teach also, because it'll show that picture, how it was taken, when it was taken, what was the film, what was the camera. Okay? You'll learn. Had a great day. Remember, Matt Osborne, thank you very much for having a great channel. I'm very jealous of your work. You get to photograph beautiful models around the world. You're a great guy. You're easy to listen to. You've taught me a lot of things about Russian cameras, Ukrainian cameras. You're a great guy, Matt. Thank you so much. And that'll do it. We made it. 56 minutes, folks. I had a great time. This has been class number 35, Learning Photography. Carmine from New York. It's always my pleasure. I've been a photographer for 49 years. I did the whole thing, magazine covers, newspapers. I had photographed Ronald Reagan. That's a whole nother story. We'll get into that in another episode. All right, guys. I'm going to tune off. Have a great night. Have a great day. And Matt Osborne, you have a great channel.